That heifer right there just don't even care.
Save yourself now.
Hey, yeah.
Action.
Yeah. Lots of action tonight.
We was having a discussion behind camera like always.
Yeah. One of them husband and wife discussions.
She wouldn't clarify things. I'll get to that in just a minute.
Oh my gosh. He's crazy.
Moving on.
Yeah.
But hope everybody's having a fine Sunday evening. Buddy, we got a gully washer last night.
Yes.
Pretty much till close to daylight this morning, but man, it was some much needed rain. And the plant life, sure enough, was happy to see it.
Oh, yeah, everything's perking up then. What?
Smash button.
Already.
Well, I'm trying to get this in to catch up on things. Y'all bear with me. We're getting there. We're going to derail early. Y'all know how it is.
Already.
But like I say, hope everybody had a fine Sunday evening. We got the rain. But she's got what kind of hibiscus is that? Do we know the name?
It's one of them that looks like the Azalea Trail Matrix. Like it's got the ruffly, really, really fluffy bloom on it. I don't remember what it's called.
We nurse that thing. Between that, we've got a bleeding heart. They say it's the rare kind of bleeding heart, but it's the red and white. And that's the only two plants that we make sure, okay, we got to keep these alive.
Mm-hmm.
Because I unalived one of her hibiscus that went with that one a few years back. And she didn't let me live it down for a long time. I'll just put it like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, but anyway, went out this morning and looked, and buddy, that hibiscus is sure enough opened up. Roses.
And really, jasmine, honeysuckle.
Honeysuckles everywhere.
Blackberries.
Yes. And it's looking like it's going to be an abundance of blackberries so far this year.
This thing is just
Are we buffering on y'all's end?
Because it's bad on our end.
Yes.
It's really bad. Like the phone's not keeping up. I don't know if they heard us. Nobody's
aggravating. Okay, Redfish said no.
Okay. Everybody's saying no buffer.
Okay, well, good deal. I guess it's just this end of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everybody's
No.
I'm glad y'all can keep up with us because we can't keep up with us.
Awesome. Okay. Appreciate y'all on that. Let me run through here and holler at everybody right fast. But see, there's still y'all getting on in here. But let's see. Mr. Randy got first this evening. DC, it's good to see you. Chris, it's good to see you, man. Eric, Mr. Bill Lee, Red Fish, Mr. Russell Amon, Mike Taneway, Mr. Russell Cookman, Miss Sharon.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk about that in just a moment, but we had a good visit with Mr. Russell Cookman and Miss Sharon again.
Safe trip home.
Indeed. Let's see, Mike Taneway. Got Mr. Bill Lee there, Mr. Dan Weaver. Good to see you, Captain. Rodney Middleton. She fired off, my man. One pull. And she went. So, called Rodney for some advice on a generator the other day. And he said, hey, look, give me a few minutes. I'll get you fixed up.
Hey, Lee, he does pick on other people from time to time.
Who's that?
You.
Let's see. Stone River. Mr. Joe, it's me again, Joey. Good to see you, man. I'll be seeing your #1 fan tomorrow on our end. Let's see, Eric there. Deb, Son Bunny, good to see you, ma'am. Hope you're doing well.
Didn't see her coming back.
It didn't, but I guess when it refreshed, it messed the comments up. And I seen
Oh, no.
Miss Sarah. Sarah's Happy Hive in here a minute ago.
Mhm.
Y'all, if I missed it over you, blame it on the internet.
Brian and Jean.
Brian and
Did you
Jean.
tell them that?
No, I didn't. Good to see y'all too. Okay, I got them there now. Hallelujah be for 'em. If I missed y'all. It's just back and forth thing.
It was.
But
Oh no. Yeah.
like I say, season has definitely changed.
It's getting warm. Really warm.
It is. We'll be in the
Mid-80s.
about close to mid-80s tomorrow and about Wednesday or Thursday. But between 80 and 83 about Wednesday, I think we'll get a little cool down. One night will be in the upper 40s, and then
Really?
the daytime highs will be right on back up in the mid 70s. But that's some of that fine weather we love, low humidity, this and that. But we'll definitely take it. I know that.
Mr. Dan said it's going to be sunny and 70 at his house tomorrow.
Well, his comment there made me think about this, and I did not write it down. And I don't know if anybody read the description in here, but let me read this off to anyone that just in case you didn't catch it. Because we got to send special thanks to some folks. All right, I got my typical y'all pull up a chair and visit for a spell speech in there. Spring beekeeping is definitely in motion in these parts. Now let the games begin, because we rocking and rolling. All right. But here's my thank you. And I know so many of y'all is going to say, I agree with you, Tim, on this. But she's going to disagree with me in just a second as soon as I get through these words. We would like to thank the government for giving us an extra hour of daylight. It is much appreciated, unless you're from Hawaii or parts of Arizona. Y'all have become rebels in the time change exchange. So, thank you, government, for giving us an hour extra daylight, even though nature says the days are getting longer. So,
I love you, but you speak for yourself on that one.
what I tell you. But
I have no thanks for the government for that.
I just want
Absolutely. Not even a little bit.
to take the time and, thank them for providing that to all of us.
Whatever
Give credit
you
where
wanna
credit
do,
is due.
darling.
All right.
Oh, they definitely deserve credit.
See, even
Okay,
Keith
an
is on.
extra hour. Keith, come on. Where's the extra hour come from? I refer back to the old Indian saying, only the government could try to, or could convince you that if you cut a foot off the top of a blanket and sew it to the bottom, that you got a longer blanket.
Makes sense. Makes perfect sense.
It infuriates me. It absolutely infuriates me.
Keith is on board. He understands for sure.
If I could wring the government's neck like a rabid chicken, I would have it.
Eric is undoubtedly on board with it too. He said the government says you're welcome. We're here to help. We know, and we thank the government for that.
I'm pretty sure that that particular comment is like oozing with sarcasm. If you get the tone behind it.
I got it.
Yeah.
But
the government wouldn't say you're welcome for anything, even if I had something to thank it for.
They might.
Let's get off the government. I accidentally run somebody out because I told them we don't talk that nonsense on here. So get off of it. Let's derail to something else, please.
It's good to rattle the cage every once in a while.
Oh, gosh.
I enjoy it myself.
I roll my eyes so hard I strained a muscle. ridiculous.
Keith, now, I mean, Chris, no, bud, not really. I'm back on schedule, I guess. Or in my brain, instead of waking up at 3 o'clock every morning, I will now wake up at 4 o'clock every morning. And my brain will be hopefully on schedule in the next couple of days. They will tell you they're here to help. Mm-hmm.
Who's in sarcasm?
Man said with capital O.
Mm-hmm. I was up at 6 instead of my normal 7.
Mr. Roy says the G word, another word we can't say on this chat.
The G word. Oh, yeah, that's going to be that's a good idea, Mr. Roy. That's going to be one for the swear jar.
I like that, Brian. Yes, sir. That would somebody with some talent and some sarcasm needs to invent that.
Yeah.
I'd put it on a T-shirt and wear it. But we've started, Mr. Who was it?
Oh, this thing just will not load the chat. I'm missing.
Mr. Bill Lee said the government might tax us for working a lot.
That wouldn't surprise me.
But all right, when we get too carried away, you want to do the prayer list, and we'll get into some beekeeping chat. And I'm gonna drag out an old piece we read it a year or two ago in the Bee Journal, and it spiked some interest in my brain. And I believe, if I remember correctly, several of y'all, when we read it, piqued some interest in well. But I guess the headline of it would be, "Are drones useless?" So we get into that, and it's got some pretty doggone good points about, is the drone really just there to serve one purpose, or does it have different tasks in the hive? But y'all, if there's anybody we need to add to or got a prayer report, let us know, and we'll surely get it on the list. And your turn.
All right, we got Mr. Mark and Miss Crystal, Miss Pat, or Mr. Pat, Miss Deb, Mike Tangley and his family, DC's mama, Philip's mama, his friends BJ and his wife, our favorite Miss Leona, Steve Amos's father-in-law, PJ Hanley, Sarah and her family, Mr. Randy's mother-in-law, Miss Janae Wood, Kenneth and Chris Wilkinson, Redfish's wife, Miss Janet, Mr. Kenneth Allen, Rodney Middleton and his family, Dan Garrison's daughter, Miss Jolynn, Clay Bunner's grandbabies, Keith Laramore's cousin, Mr. Russell Amon's wife, Miss Brenda, Lee's mama, Miss Brenda Johnson, Keith Barnhill and his family, David Hoskins' granddaughter Emma, Greg Dunn, Phil Kent's mama, Mr. Russell Koopman's granddaughter, Tim's brother Jamie, Mr. Dan and his church, Shaw Wee, Jen's dad, Gary Stewart, Michelle Gurley, Castle Hives Brian and his family, Blaine's great nephew, Miss Pam from Tampa's Creek, Mr. Dan's nephew, the Terry Harris family, Kathy Baker's great niece Haley, the Murray family, Lee's cousin Stephanie, all our nation's service members, Shauna and her family, James Knoll, Keith Laramore's mama, my brother Jacob, James Pell, Justin Jenkins, Bucks B's wife, Allie Baker, Joey Rawls' mama and their family, Marty from Yes Honey, Baby Lucas' parents, Zach and Kiera, Lee's wife, Miss Renee, DC's friends, Bree and her daughter, Ivy, Danae's daughter, Sakura, and the new little grandbaby. And then Keith Spillman added today, Jace's mama was diagnosed with cancer. So we're going to ask her, y'all please be remembering them.
For the ones of you that, I mean, it pretty well everybody in here, we all in a chat every night, this and that. But anybody that don't know, but that's on what was Ricky and Keith is doing Thursdays now. But that's the young buck that would show up in Ricky's chat with them, and I think Keith and Ricky have kind of had a good impact on that young man's life in different ways in the beekeeping world. But just keep that young man in your prayers along with everybody else.
Absolutely.
And I know you was chatting or you was reading off the list, but Brian asked to keep Jen's dad
Oh,
in prayers too.
he's definitely still on there. Praying for Jen too.
Yep.
There's Danae. How's Sakura doing? Since we just went over the prayer list.
Yep.
And we hadn't had a baby update. Oh, I hate to hear that, DC.
Philip's here. I was letting the comments go for a second. Give Danae time to.
No, there's not enough coffee in that coffee bar for me to hash out the government tonight.
Nope. I guess we done moved on from the government portion of the segment.
Yeah.
Wherever it was.
I'm over it already. I don't do well with politics. Also, I don't watch the news. I don't keep up with none of that crap. He tells me like what I need to know, I guess. But other than that, I'm out. It just makes me mad.
It does. Y'all have her outside in a few minutes with her steak and pitchfork, chanting out there. But
Anyway.
Yep. We had a wonderful visit. This is the second year we've had the opportunity to go down and visit with Mr. Russell Koopman and Miss Sharon while they enjoy these beautiful Alabama beaches.
Well, we thoroughly enjoyed ourselves.
We did. It's good seeing them again. Got into conversation like we left off yesterday, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Had a good lunch together. Mr. Russell was bringing. He asked how the bees were doing around here, or how things was looking, and I told him, I said, well, they bringing the pollen in, they doing some backfilling, and we had busted down a couple of colonies the other day just to see what numbers were looking like, and seeing a whole bunch of drone brood, the boy bee.
Yeah.
I didn't misgender either. Okay.
Oh my
But we are having drone brood. It's a good deal. And in conversation, I had asked him if he had ever taken and used old foundations, for like starter pieces to do cut comb and this and that. And he said, you know what I do? Old piece of foundation. He said, if it's busted here or there, and if I can do, kind of like a half piece or a third piece, something like that, pretty good. He said he'll build a story frame, if you will, but then put that in to bring up the drone population. Let them draw out drone sales off that story frame. And he says oftentimes that'll eliminate, because what we had going on was they was bridging between both boxes. Everybody's in double deeps out there. And between the first and second deep, they was bridging up. And that's where they was putting all them drones. And he said, take them old foundation you was asking me about. And he said, do you like a story frame in a sense? And stick that puppy off in there.
He's got a suggestion for everything.
Oh, yeah. I was like, I appreciate that, Mr. Russell. Because I got a bunch I want to do cut comb with. And there's a couple pieces that were busted more at the bottom. And we can have some half pieces. A great idea as far as the cutting out on that bridging. He said, because she ain't got nowhere to lay no drones. And they're not quite to where they're drawing out. Yet they're doing it just enough to bring up population, if you will, but not seeing that, brand new, beautiful stuff all over the place right now. But he said, if you want to help out on your drone population, most definitely do that. And you can rock and roll with it. Plus, you won't have to worry about them bridging in between anywhere to find room for them drone sales. So, thank you, Mr. Russell, on that little helpful hint. Definitely going to get into that. And all in all, we just had some good fellowship. Miss Sharon was definitely enjoying herself while she was down here.
Yes. I think she would have stayed another month or so if she could.
Proud of son. But we enjoyed it once again, y'all. And the Lord wills, y'all get back down here next year and everything works out. We sure want to plan another visit with you.
I think she's planning on making it a routine thing to come back when it's snowing at home.
Well, we was talking. They kind of extended, I think, coming down here a week or two later versus than what they did last year. And that way, there's a good chance they won't have to worry about no cold weather like it was. And we're golden for another 125 years for
a
snowstorm. So, hopefully, won't have to do with that. But God love them. They always bring us a treat from the house up there.
Yes, that was my word.
I'm saving that for last. Saving that for last. But like I said, God love them.
This has always been my favorite.
Mr. Russell, there's there. Let's see if I can get that close enough. That baby's picture. One of their grandbabies there, but brought us some cinnamon. More apple cinnamon. Got their vanilla there.
Since the kids stole ours after the honey competition.
It sure did. I ain't telling them nothing on that. And
this one is my new favorite.
I gotta say, it's pretty, which I like this flavor anyway. Kind of thing, and I know most everybody else does, but somebody was talking about Mr. Russell making it a week or three ago in one of these, or he may have mentioned in the comments, but here's the other one there. But raspberry.
It is so good.
Indeed.
Oh, my word, it's good.
And then, Miss Sharon, you'll have to explain this because I don't know.
It's hand lotion.
Okay.
It's hand cream. But Miss Sharon makes it out of their beeswax. This one's a lavender scented. But that stuff is incredible.
I got to get this where it doesn't show his cell phone number on there, anything. But yeah, I got it covered up there now. But yeah, God love her. She brought Hannah some, what does that say? Lavender hand cream.
I love it.
Let's see what
You
this
can get hooked on that stuff.
I didn't even I didn't even know about this, and my wife ain't got to worry about me using this at all. But she kept this a secret all the way till we got to the house. But
I handed him the bag. Miss Sharon handed me.
I didn't look at it till we got home. But
Mm-hmm.
well, that smells pretty good too. But yeah,
I'll love it.
she's definitely.
I'll probably be ordering some of that from y'all, Mr. Russell.
Thank y'all so very much
We do appreciate it greatly.
for the love and everything.
Had a great time.
So did. We went down to. They had to mosey on and get ready to hit the road. We went on down to the Gulf and sat down there a little while and dug up coral and fossils out of the Gulf down there for a little while, and we moseyed them.
Crazy day finding some good stuff.
We did. We found some really pretty pieces. Any of y'all, if you ever get down on our beaches, you got to kind of look for them, but they're all over the place, if you will. But there's a whole bunch of snail fossils that wash up on the beach down there. Like I said, you got to look for them, but they around. And we had how many did we get? 25?
22.
22?
22 out of like an 8-inch diameter circle hole. I just sat there for like 30 minutes sifting through sand.
Eric, respectfully, I have to disagree.
Dennis said on our feet. He won't even do that.
I can't bring I cannot bring my I just can't bring myself to it. Putting lotion on my hand or wearing a pink shirt. I can't. Everybody said, well, real men wear pink. Well, in October, no, get me a little pin and I'll support the cause all month long. But if you hand me a pink shirt, I'm just going to give you a dead look of, I'm not wearing that.
Nobody's told him what to wear in a long time.
The only time I like a soft hand, and that is whenever I'm holding my wife's hand, kind of thing. And she pretty well knows not to grab my hand if she's still got remnants of just putting lotion on her hands, kind of thing. I love her, but I can't. I just can't do it, y'all.
Oh my gosh. But that's the bad part. Do you see he looks really good in pink with his complexion?
I'm sorry, y'all. I hope I don't offend anybody on that end.
Nobody's going to be offended that you don't like wear pink. It's not like you're harping on other people for wearing pink.
Yeah, hey, wear it all you want.
It's just a personal, he won't wear pink.
Pink's for girls, blue's for boys. That's all I've known my whole life.
I wear blue all the time.
Well, you're a girl. Y'all can do things like that. That's just.
Oh my God.
That's the way it is.
Move on from the fashion discussion.
What else you got here?
You do offend somebody.
I have those tendencies from time to time. Let's see. Talked with Miss Sharon and Mr. Russell there. Got the story framed for the drones. Philip's in here, so I can talk about this now. Got the fancy.
Mr. Russell's with you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, and Clay's with you. Eric's with you too.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I do have supporters. I appreciate you out there. I really do.
You're not alone, babe. You're not alone.
But talked to Philip the other day, and I kind of did a combo between him and Mr. Ed on the swarm traps.
I cannot imagine Keith Well, I guess the maintenance, but I just can't see you working at a department store in a pink button up.
I might help you today.
Yeah. He looks great in pink though. Oh, that's funny. Funny,
Yeah,
funny,
that-
funny.
All right, that's another one. Y'all want to bring it up? You ain't got to worry about this one shaving his arms or legs at all, kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's an act of Congress for me to shave my face, and I'm not fixing to start on my arms and legs.
It's an even bigger act of Congress if they have to shave a square on his chest or something for like an EKG sticker. Oh my gosh. You would think the world was going to fall off its axis.
Well, I mean,
He cannot.
I don't like it.
No, he would never shave his legs at all. This conversation's getting strange.
I could, if there's a Danae, if there's,
If it looks pink at all,
Nope.
if there's going to be any kind of light where somebody might mistake it for a shade of pink, no.
I'm in. So it's best to just get me a white t-shirt. That's typically what I wear all the time. You want to send me something? Send me a white t-shirt.
Lotion Tim could use so he doesn't have to shave.
Oh,
I'm
Lord.
fixing to leave y'all to this man's night fellowship. Oh my God. Oh my word. Anyway, what else you got on that beekeeping news list?
Fancy swarm boxes.
Yeah.
Got one filled the other day.
He did do that.
Said, what's the measurements on your boxes? And he said, this is what I do. But I got a bunch of scrap plywood off a job that was actually really still good. Customer wanted to tear off plywood and put on some lap siding. Able to get them off in nice whole pieces. And brought them home. Laid it all out. Got everything cut the other day, put together. So we got two of them. We're going to take one up to the country and then one probably to the church house.
I have me a whole new drawer full of pink t-shirts, Mr. Davis. He said, you're going to have 30 pink t-shirts.
Everybody's
coming in the mail this week. Oh, my word. That's funny.
I'll show them. Don't count on me wearing them.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, loop it on back to swarm boxes. He even got them suckers painted. The other day, spray painted.
They're a third of
look like a redneck primer coat. They got to paint them.
They look good.
They will when they're done.
Well, they're a third painted because I got two more colors to add to it. They're going camo, so I got to get me some green and brown to finish out my camo mix on it. But other than that, everything's put together. Got a black primer on them, ready to rock and roll. Like I said, one's gonna go to the old place up there, then the other one we're gonna take to the church because every single year we get a swarm from the church up there. So, looking forward to seeing what them boxes will do for us. But
yeah.
Swarm sales. We're seeing they're drawing them out. I went and put some supers on two of them earlier today and didn't pull any frames, anything like that. But I did when I got into them. I broke the boxes apart, leaned them up, looked at them. And both colonies that I looked at out there, they are drawing out the swarm sales like crazy. So probably about Thursday, we're going to be splitting. Where are we at?
He's trying to do laundry. He got grounded from the washing machine.
That,
he threw a red grease rag in a white load of clothes and turned everything.
Well, I mean, I get where he was going. Oh, shoot, it'll wash. Just put it all in there. Ain't no big deal.
I would have just handed him that whole basket. You got you a pretty new set of shop towels, honey. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
DC, I probably wouldn't.
He really probably he don't love me that much.
I love my wife dearly, but that's one of them. Mm-mm,
He wouldn't.
mm-mm.
He would wear like a matching Halloween costume before he would wear a pink shirt.
Yeah. I mean, I do that because we'd do something cool if it was a matching Halloween suit, like me being Zorro and you being my princess. I come and save out of a castle
In the woods.
in the woods. And the castle would look more like a hunting stand, but y'all would know. You know what I mean? Romeo and Juliet didn't have much.
Just a shooting house and oak tree.
And he cut his ear off to paint her a picture. You know what I'm saying?
Please don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
See if any of y'all picked up on that.
Mr. Dan, I agree. The man needs to stand on a solid rock.
That's it.
He does.
If you give in on that, the world's got you.
Eric said he did the same thing, but he didn't get banned from doing laundry. He just got told to do better.
Do better.
Oh my word. That's hilarious.
Minnesota Mike, yes. Rodney Middleton's tip was to put the trap on the hill, on the crest of a hill, scent carrying on further. Indeed, he was talking to us about that last year, about this time of the year, setting up boxes, and I believe that's kind of like one of his go-to areas. You can set it up on the crest up there, pretty close, and he often has more luck with that means. We're at with it.
Right. Spoken like a true man. Eric, you should try doing worse, then maybe you'll get banned. It's hilarious. No, I'm out of coffee and I got a feeling I'm gonna need it.
You probably will.
Where this is
The way
going
things are going right now, you
already.
probably will.
Oh.
Thank you much, there, Dennis. DC, hey brother, we enjoy the chit chat and fellowship because oftentimes, like the next day, we're still talking about whatever derailed or went apart during the chat. It's like, get some good laughs out of it between everybody. But now, before we move on to is a drone useless? I was watching a nature documentary a while ago, and I know. Let me ask this question: many of y'all, did y'all have troubles with the ladybugs? The ladybugs or the Chinese beetle, whatever they call them things that look like a ladybug, if you will. But I know they was pretty heavy around here, or they have been. And hearing other folks talk that they were seeing a whole bunch of ladybugs in and around their homes and this and that. But I got to thinking because it was talking about ladybugs and their diet. And yeah, the orange ones or the red ones is mostly what was in this nature documentary. But it made me think because it was talking about the ladybug's main diet is different little aphids. And if you see a whole bunch of ladybugs in the season, then that's a sign that there's a whole bunch of food out there for them, the aphids. And I got talking to Hannah a while ago, and I actually looked it up. And according to what I was told on the Google there, that if you see a high population of ladybugs, you're going to have a high population of the aphids that year. So if you have that high population of the ladybug and the aphid, is there a good chance we're going to have a good flow, if you will, from honeydew? We'll still have to see how it goes on that, but it was kind of encouraging to see that potentially there will be a little bit more of a resource out there this year, especially whenever the main flows kind of get to rocking and rolling. But if it is true, and the hunting, the swarm season, if you will, of the ladybugs, hopefully that's, like saying, is a good sign that we will actually get a pretty good bit of a honeydew flow as well. Where else was I going with that? I didn't had a train wreck in my brain. Well, what?
The phone who froze on a hilarious Jasper expression.
Yeah. He's like, man, what are you talking about, bro? This and that. Well, got another text getting in here. Blaine, good to see you, bro. Let me see. Think some other names. Mosey and I in here that I missed. Keith Larimore, good to see you, Captain. Let's see, I seen somebody else I thought got in here.
Yeah, there's a name, Brandon. Somebody.
Oh yeah, Brandon, good to see you. Appreciate you dropping by, man. Okay. I'm kind of caught up. Let me get the Bee Journal piece brought up. Like I say, it's pretty interesting. It's got some, I guess, interesting thoughts on the drone potentially not being just a sole use for one thing in the hive. But this is from the American Bee Journal, and I believe it was 1899 whenever this one was written. But the headline of it is "Drones, Are They Auxiliaries?" And it said in the American Bee Journal of June 7th, I'm assuming 1899, 1880s, I seen an inquiry by P.J. Swain concerning the barberry plant, and Professor Burhill remarks thereon. Now, I want to relate a bit of experience that I've had with this shrub. I've had it a great many years. And the only reason I'm just going to highlight this because it's a long paragraph of this guy talking about the barberry shrub. Then it actually gets into the drone process. But on down it, he was saying he was having trouble with like his fruit trees blooming. And with this barberry shrub around, peach trees wasn't doing well, and different other fruit trees that he had was not doing well. And somebody told him and said it's because this particular plant that you have in your yard, and you need to get rid of that barberry. So the fella says, all right, he went through and cut everything out of his yard then, and ever since then, he has had good results with his peach trees and other fruit trees blooming since then. But getting out of the highlight of that and actually into the drone part now, it says scientists in theory hold that the drones of pure queens will be themselves pure, regardless of how the queens were mated. But many beekeepers of long and close observation have of late years cited many exceptions to the rule. We have often thought there is much yet to learn regarding drone production and their functions in the hive. It sometimes seems almost improbable that nature would be so lavish with drones if only one conducive to the prosperity or perpetuation of the colony, while the queen with the existence of the queen itself depends, should be so exceedingly limited, and instinct of the first emerging should imperil her to immediately destroy all possibilities of succession. Who that is familiar with the inner economy of the beehive has not observed the hundreds of drones in a strong colony during a rapid honey flow, apparently as busy on combs in which honey is being stored as are the worker bees, and it is quite common occurrence to observe them thickly congregated on the cells in which are freshly deposited eggs and newly hatched larvae, as though by their presence they assisted in incubating the eggs, talking about the drones assisting in incubating eggs, or furnished the natural heat necessary for the larva. More particularly have we observed this when, after a season of rapid breeding, a cold, windy spell for several days duration visits us and our bees as if with one general impulse, flock to the grocery stores in the hordes, often in 2 or 3 days, depleting a 10-frame colony to 1 to 2 spaces. We have within the past month had colonies containing several frames of eggs and brood in all stages depleted to 2 frames of workers, and powerful weak at that. If drones do no family duty in the hive, how is it possible to rear a hive of drones when the queen is but a drone layer? It is a curious fact when honey is coming in most rapidly, when the glad, joyous midnight roar can be heard rods distance from the hive, when the bees during daylight with the frenzy rush over and over pale mail. I had to look that up, see what that meant in the old days. And they're engages to go for fresh loads of nectar, and returning warily drop on the alighting board close to the entrance and crawl in. Then can be found the drones thickest in a hive or among the boxes where the newest, thinnest honey is being deposited, but let the honey flow altogether cease, and the work of the drones be no longer required. And they will be herded on the outer and sealed combs, and if the dearth continue, they will be driven from the hives entirely. Who can assert that they do not perform an important function in assisting to ripen the honey or extracting the water from it, quite as necessary as the gathering of it? And he's asking that question. That hordes of drones are necessary, we do not think, but we are not certain that they may not be too rigorously excluded from the hives, that they are extraordinary, I'm going to probably butcher this word, gourmanderizers. And I did look that up, and that was more the meaning that come up, that gourmanderizers was meaning like gluttonous. How it's often spoke about drones just being glutton in there. All they do is eat, fly out, take care of a queen, then that's the end of it. But we do not think, for we have never never been able to discover on the outer combs where the honey has been once capped or sealed over, and where the drones have been all herded perhaps for days, a single cell which has been uncapped by them and robbed of its own store of sweet. There's much concern in the drones, which is not yet understood, and at least by us, but we have no doubt a great deal will in time be learned, and perhaps many theories held at the present time be modified. Red-headed drones, though in the minority, are by no means exceptional and are frequently found in large apiaries of Italians, all apparently equal pure. Since the above was in type, the British Bee Journal from June has been received, in which we find the following remarks on the subject of drones by this editor. All right, then it gets into what this editor had written in the British Bee Journal back then. In the forthcoming translation of Dizersen's,
What?
how do you say that?
Zeersons?
Okay, silent D, people.
I think it is because it's DZ. So I think it's Zeerson.
All right, Zeersen's Rational Beekeeping will be found a remark by the author to the effect that drones serve no purpose beyond the fertilization of queens. And to this we have taken exception as follows. We cannot accede to the author's assertion that the fertilization of queens is the sole purpose of drones. This is where it kind of gets interesting. All right. We cannot accede to the author's assertion that the fertilization of queens is the sole purpose of drones' existence. It is well known that when the swarm has left a hive, there is often but a handful of worker bees left at home to take care of and for a huge mass of brood in all stages that the hive contains. And should a cold night follow a swarming day, as is often the case, this handful of workers would find it impossible to maintain the necessary heat in the hive, and there would be great loss of brood and bee life. In this condition of things, the drones, the great majority of which are staying at home, but it does say there's a few occupying a swarm, but the vast majority of them are staying in that hive, are of immense service, maintaining heat, which otherwise the few workers will be compelled to generate for themselves, and setting the latter free to nurse and newly hatching larvae. It is true that when the young queen has hatched and been fertilized and the weather becomes cold, the drones are slain. But at the time, there will be little, if any, unsealed brood in the hive, while thousands of young bees have hatched into the life, rendering the hive populous and the drones unnecessary. Nor must it be forgotten that drones are not usually slain until cool weather sets in, or, in other words, until a honey harvest is ceased. See how much I got more there. There's a little bit left, but so far the summary on it is saying,
Drones ain't useless.
yeah, are they in there actually doing more work than what we think they're doing? Are they tending to brood? Are they helping dry out moisture in the honey? Taking water around, this and that, besides just being some bumps on a log, gorging themselves and flying out when the time comes and this and that. Let's see, to maintain the heat in the hive, that there would be great loss of brood and bee life. This condition of things, the drones, a great majority of which are staying at home. Let me get back down here. Setting the latter free to nurse and newly hatching larvae. It is true, when the young queen has hatched and been fertilized and the weather becomes cold, the drones are slain. But at that time, there will be little, if any, unsealed brood in the hive, while thousands of young bees will be hatched into life, rendering the hive populous and the drones unnecessary. Nor must it be forgotten that drones are not usually slain until the cool weather sets in, or in other words, until the honey harvest has ceased, a fact upon which is hinged a belief in our mind that they are of service in helping to evaporate the honey prior to it being sealed for winter store. May have noticed a large number of drones, often to be found in supers, and though it is generally supposed they are there as consumers only, it by no means follows that such is the case. The old saying, give a dog a bad name, etc., is fully carried out with the drones, and no one seems to seek for or believe there are any good qualities in them, yet, as many will doubtless be able to substantiate, some of the best results have been achieved in hives whose drones were at least numerous. In that case, the thought has been, if the bees did so well with the immense number of drones to keep, what would they not have done without them? Ignoring the possibility that the drones may have assisted in procuring the good results, and it is not true that under the present system with drone traps on during the honey harvest, many have cause to complain that their supers, though filled, are left unsealed by the bees. Any of y'all ever notice that?
Hmm.
That where, I guess after you have that swarm, this and that, a lot of it is left unsealed, and you have them drones up there in them supers. If you don't have a queen excluder on, we're just assuming we're talking about the 1800s here. They probably didn't have, a plastic queen excluder or stainless steel one to throw on there.
Mm-hmm.
So they had everybody moving up and down. And it's not true that under the present system with drone traps on during the honey harvest, many have cause to complain that their supers, though filled, are left unsealed by the bees. We have hundreds of times seen bees return from the fields, give their honey to drones, and as often seen drones with their heads in honey cells. It is certain that the drones in this case are not in a sense of honey carriers. We know they have no honey sacs, as have the workers, but that will make our suggestion ridiculous. The bees prepare the food for the nursling bees in their stomachs. May not drones prepare honey for storage in a similar way? They have no honey sac to collect it in, their duty lying at home except on special occasions at certain hours of the day. Bee autonomous who search only for what they hope to find may perhaps overlook the truths that have not been suggested. But let the influence be what it may, we cannot believe that the drone to be as useless as is accredited.
No,
Hope you got something out of it. Yeah. So, do we really think that the drone is useless as that?
Well, DC's been talking in the chat about he thinks, because he said like late in the season when it's really, really hot, that he hears a different tone of humming, like when they're trying to cool the hive. And he thinks maybe the drones help move air inside with their big old wings.
I mean, I say it's a good possibility.
I don't see why not.
No.
I mean, they get hot too.
Yeah.
I can imagine one of them little girls with a singer being like, boy, get up and do something.
Yeah, do your part. Instead of just sitting around not doing anything. I'm not going to fan you all day. But, I mean, I believe there's truths in there. Now, do you see the drone study it as much as you do as a queen or as a worker? I don't see a whole lot of, I guess, that going on to actually see if there is a better purpose for the drone besides that one sole deal there. I don't know that the good Lord would make a functioning system like that with a bunch of lazy.
Yeah, decent. He just said the only bee in the hive that only has one function is the queen. Why would the system have been designed by God, I guess, in a manner that the drone only has one job while all the rest have multiple functions?
Yes.
And I did not know that. Larimore said a honeybee can flap its wings around 230 times a second.
That's pretty good. They beat the hummingbird.
That's crazy.
I thought the hummingbird was fast.
I really didn't know that. I had no idea they flap their wings like that. That's impressive.
Oh, let me see here. If this is, I found the mule story that I was looking for a while back.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Well, read it while you got it.
I'll do it. Y'all remember when we were talking about if we derailed or something like usual on one of the chats, but was talking about the mule that was aggravating the bees in the story. But I found that puppy right here in the same doggone bee journal. A mule's amusement with bees. A California exchange gives the following. I was visiting a gentleman who lived in the vicinity of Los Angeles. That's before they had that big old airport out there and there was nothing but a cornfield. The morning was beautiful. The splash of a little cascades about the grounds, the buzz of the bees, and the gentle moving of the foliage of the pepper trees and the ocean breeze made up a picture which I thought was complete. A mule wandered on scene. The scene I thought could have gotten along without him. He took a different view. The mule had wandered up close to a large beehive and got stung. His eyes lit up as if he was just, his eyes lit up as if that was just what he was looking for. He turned on the beehive to look at, to take aim, and tried. The bees swarmed. Let me get back up here. The bee swarm lit on that mule earnestly after he had kicked the last bit of the beehive so high that he could not reach it any more. He stopped for an instant. He seemed trying to ascertain whether the 10,000 bees which were stinging him meant it. They did. The mule turned loose. I never saw anything equal to it. He was enveloped in a dense fog of earnestness and bees and filled with enthusiasm and stings. So he was a pretty excited mule trying to get up out of there. I had no idea how many bees a hive would hold until I saw the beehive emptied on the mule. They covered him so completely that I could not see any of him, but the glare of his eyes, I could see from the expression of his eyes that he didn't like the way things were going. I bet he didn't. Don't be kicking over beehives.
They stung him first.
Not only was every bee of the disturbed hive on duty, but I think the news had been conveyed to the neighboring hives that war had been declared. I could see bees flying to and fro. The mule was covered deep with bees that he looked like an exaggerated mule. The hum of the bees and they're moving on each other combined and seething hiss. Numbers were telling on him. He looked distressed. He had always been used to kicking against something, but found now that he was striking against the air. It was exhausting. So he was out there just
trying to get him off of him.
Yeah, well,
poor baby.
That's what happens when you don't be going to kick no beehive, especially if you're mule. But yeah, all right, let me get back here in this chat. Well, no, I don't think he did in the end.
That's terrible. Why would you want to read a story like that?
Well, it's just for educational purposes. Anybody out there got a mule, keep them away from the beehive, especially if they like to kick things.
Mm.
That's why you don't stand behind. All right, let me get back here to some of these comments. All right, there's DC's comment. Why would good Lord set it up in that way? They only have one function. Blaine said, I think the drone's primary job is to mate with the queen, but I imagine they help cool the hive to some extent and help warm the hive to some extent as well. All right. And I know we read this before we went out to Mr. Russell Amon's, but we had never seen this until we went to Mr. Russell Amon's. And we have been told that bees do not store water in the hive.
If they do.
And so, just kind of listen to folks. I never went back and did my own research on it until we had went to Mr. Russell Amon's last year. I think early last year. But as we was going through colonies there at Mr. Russell, we had pulled a frame and we just barely tipped that thing, more or less just kind of look at the frame. It's on one of them videos we got.
Mm-hmm. You can short on it.
I did, yeah, I think so. And granted, it was early in season, very early spring. Swarms was just kind of starting to kick off good and heavy then. But I had noticed, okay, it looked like some nectar had dripped out of that frame. So me just being curious, I stuck my finger down there and I was going to taste it and see what the local floral was tasting like, as far as nectar wise. And lo and behold, it wasn't nectar. It was pure water that fell out of the cells, kind of thing. And so I guess going back to the drone situation, yeah, I think they have more of a use. Do we know what else?
Said drones help spread M's from hive to hive for no charge.
I guess that way it's going. Everybody out there now, your foragers and everybody else. But I didn't derail. My brain's so scatterbrained this evening.
All over the place.
All over the place.
So is Jasper.
Well, wherever I was going with that, I probably had a point somewhere. Or confused the mess out of whoever. But it would be interesting to see if people would actually, I guess, kind of try to concentrate on the drones a little bit more to answer some of these questions and not just have this one stigma of, okay, that's all they do. And that's all they're good for. It's one sole purpose. It would be interesting to know the functions as a whole. As far as we know what the queen bee does, we know what the nurse bees do, we know what the foragers do. We really don't know 100% on
everything the drones
do. Yeah, everything that the drones do. It's just kind of assumed that it's just one job and that's it. Like I said, it would be interesting to see some folks actually get in and study that and to see if they are in there, trying to get the moisture content down, if they're passing nectar off to that drone or that forager, passing it off to that drone for whatever reason, and they're putting it back into the cell. So perhaps just to say they can get out and go forage real quick again, instead of trying to run around and find, a nurse bee or somebody that ain't doing too much, pass it off to them, and they go to storing it in the cell.
It would be totally impossible
Well, I guess what kind of drew my attention on it was more of watching Mr. Who was it Bob Bennett's video this morning? Somebody's video I was watching about them filling in the drone cells a little bit, and filling in them drone cells to have somewhere to lay workers, I believe it was. And I can't remember if it was Mr. Bob Bennett's video this morning. Somebody's video I was watching this morning was talking about that. But that's where we're at.
Yeah, we're out of stuff talking.
That's it. Has everybody ate this evening? It may have been Larry Moore, because I watched, I don't know, a few minutes of it. Then I went outside and got distracted out there after watching it. But I had to go back and see too if I can find that one. I can't remember if it was in the Bee Journal or on one of them other websites that is pretty reliable. But it was talking about when they're drawing out new comb, and you got your hexagon. Okay. All right. Whenever them bees are building that new comb, that whenever they get everything put together, you got one little bee that will come in once they get all them little puzzle pieces put together, and she will kind of wiggle around inside that cell before it's ready. And she will round that thing off, but undoubtedly, as she's rounding it off, what she's doing essentially is welding, if you will, them cells together and creating a round spot in that cell versus a hexagon shape. And then that's the reason you see at the very top of that comb that more of a rounded look to it versus, you can tell it's hexagon shape, but at the very top of that new wax, you can see the roundness where they get in there, and they, I guess, kind of do a few 360 donuts and weld all that stuff together and have it right set for the queen to come in and
Thank you, Brian. I screenshotted your comment. I'm going to see if I can find that book.
Okay.
Mr. Dan had steak and taters.
All right. Brian says, I haven't read it, but there's a book called Honeybee Drones by Graham Kingham. Yeah, you got that? You said?
Yeah, I took a screenshot of it.
Uh-oh. We're talking about got the M's going on and drifting. Now y'all know how big of fans we are with the M's and this and that, and I'm really hoping we get them horizontal hives packed out this year. But the couple years we had them puppies full, they would be, y'all seen pictures, I don't know, it's on one of these deals here, but I imagine some of y'all seen a couple pictures of the horizontal hive, and you literally cannot see the front of that old cypress board because there were so many bees along the front, and then they will be clustered down up underneath it as if they was like mini swarms is the best way to explain it. But
which is too cool.
We never had any issues with drifting and fighting. It was kind of like everybody, and you can put 3 10-frame deeps, or you can section it up however you want, but usually we do 3 10-frame deeps in each one of them and let them go from there. Except for on one box, we'll do 20 frames and let one colony just rip and go and do 10 on the other side. But
Well, a couple of years ago, we had that one queen that built out that whole horizontal box.
oh yeah, she was a good running one.
Mm-hmm.
Buddy, did she pack it out?
And then beetles got them.
Yep. Well, and that's when I thought too, I'm going to help these bees out, give them a little bit more airspace.
Yeah.
Well, when I unclogged that one entrance, if you will, because I was trying to keep them down to one entrance, but they was bearding out so heavy and out of that box. I was like, well, maybe they need a little bit more air. So I unplugged one of them entrances, and it wouldn't.
They fertilized it up by the next day.
Yeah, it wasn't but a day or two later. That whole 1/2 inch by 4 or 5 inch opening that's on that box,
Shut.
completely closed, propylized. Like, well, y'all know better than we do on that end. So y'all carry on and do what you're doing. But we have had some really good luck in them horizontal hives as far as outstanding numbers. I don't know what it is.
It's so much easier to grow a hive in there for whatever reason. I have no idea why.
All right, Minnesota Mike, take care of yourself, brother. Appreciate you. But yeah, we're gonna get out there and we're gonna go splitting probably Thursday with all them queen cells that I seen earlier today. They're drawing out buku of them. Nothing anywhere near capped off, but got some good sized cups all over the place. Then I know we're going to cull one queen for sure. And I'd really like to replace her with one of the two out there that we got, or one of the two colonies that are much more calm, if you will. But that one colony is just a little bit too jumpy, if you will.
Yeah. They got a bad attitude.
They do have a real bad attitude. And I don't want to take no chances with anything, especially whenever they go to show enough expanding.
Getting defensive.
Yeah, because all I did, I just simply popped the inner cover off, the lid and the inner cover off, and buddy, they'd come out and jumped on me like I was that mule kicking the box. And that just kind of solidified the point of now, once these queen cells get good and ripen, we're going to go in there, cull her, stick a couple cells in there, let the battle begin on whoever's going to run it after that. Then hopefully calm their tails down a little bit.
I hope so.
Because the biggest colony out there, it is literally 3 double deeps on that one. And it is packed from top to bottom. They pretty well went into winter like that, and they've pretty well come out of winter like that. And the numbers are growing now, especially since
would you say that colony's tooth-tail now?
Let me look at that, Brian. Let me see what the pale male be meaning. I think we looked that up last time, didn't we? Damn, pale male in English. Let's see what that is in English.
We should have done Spanish.
In a confused, rushed, or disorderly manner.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
They're just turds.
Well, they jittery. You know how some of them colonies you get in, and it's like they're all wound up on something, and it's like, ladies, calm down. I'm not here to aggravate you too much, for the most part. And we got a couple colonies out there that I was telling Mr. Russell Koopman, I pulled frame after frame after frame, and I only got stung one time, and that was my own doing out of that colony. And there's 2 double deeps on that bunch. But for the most part, every one of them bees, all you seen was little eyes on each side of the top of the frame rest. And nobody was trying, they wasn't getting flighty, jumping on you, carrying on, this and that. Everybody was just kind of like checking us out. But that other colony, definitely pale male. Fussy, jumpy, jittery, the whole bunch.
Not good.
Pale male mismatch.
Pale male equals mismatch.
That's it. But yeah, I mean, we're there now. It's just time to start rock and rolling. I know Joey, he's gotten several splits done. Many others down here. I talked to Dirt Rooster for a minute over the weekend, and he said he was doing graphs, getting ready for queen season. So it's most definitely ramping up around here.
It is that those leaves on the fig tree.
Yep, the fig tree showing leaves. So we know biblically summertime is here. Or spring, however you want to look at it there. The warmer season. But anybody else out there starting on graphs yet? I think if anything on the queens, we just gonna have to, we're gonna work it the old timey way. Let's do splits, or if we got a bunch of queen cells, do splits, stick 2 cells in. May the best woman win out of it. But perhaps one day they can sit down and get into the grafting and this and that. But we just gonna stick to the old timey way for right now and get the old spoon carving knife. Work that cell off there, stick it on a frame. Like I say, let them rip. Hopefully we're starting to get into the rainy season a little bit. So Lord willing, everything will work out to where we'll get them good rainy days and enough time to maintain a good flow without drought or the rains washing them away, this and that. Larimore says, I'm going to split mine this week and drop sales in this weekend. Mr. Dan said, man, I'm just going to be doing box rotations and old cone culling tomorrow. Plain says, planning to do some splits next weekend if the drones are ready. We ain't got any walking around yet, but it ain't going to be too much more longer. I say another week or so, we'll definitely have drones running around out there. But haven't seen any, like I say, open walking around yet. Lee, is that what y'all having for supper? Mexican chicken casserole? That does sound pretty doggone good. We just kept it simple today. I had me a huge breakfast tonight. Had much of appetite since then. But we didn't do nothing for dinner this evening. All right, where we at on things? Let me smash the button. Any of y'all want to come in here and help fill the dead air? Come on. If not, I know you folks in the chat will get us on to something. Whether it's food or bingo. Okay, I think I got it. You pin that for me. Larimore, y'all, from your couple videos there, have seen that y'all having a show enough run on the maple. And when we was headed down to the Gulf the other day to visit with Mr. Russell and Miss Sharon, along that Mobile Causeway, there's a little cut through, and down along that bay, man, you talk about the red maple is blooming like crazy down there. It's showing up here, but it ain't showing nowhere near like it is along that bay. What you know good, Philip?
Hey, oh, I'm just still trying to get home.
I headed back from your mama's.
Yeah, stayed a little bit longer this time since it was her birthday, so getting back a little later than I usually do. So appreciate you all coming on and keeping me awake.
Hey, we'll try our best.
Hardest part is trying not to read the chat because that's distracting.
Well, we'll holler at you if somebody highlights your name there. That way you keep your eyes on the highway. But Hannah said you done a fantastic job on that cake for your mama.
Appreciate it. Yeah, I was proud. I was proud of that. I was like a little kid who made a cake for their mom.
Uh,
I worried about it all night last night because I knew I had to get up this morning and cook it. So I followed the instructions just as good as I could. Came out pretty good. It was devil's chocolate and devil's food chocolate and cream cheese icing. With semi-sweet mini chocolate morsels all over the top.
hey, and I wouldn't.
Everybody liked it. Half of it was gone by the time, and there was only 4 of us eating it, so half of it was gone by the time everybody settled down.
Oh, well, hey, if at least half the cake's gone, you know there's some goodness to it. Instead of people like, just cut me a little piece of it, and then you're left with 3/4.
Yeah, most people went back for an extra piece, so that makes it good. Although I didn't know I was getting help from your girlfriend, your ex-girlfriend, when I made it.
Well, when you sent me that message, I was like, oh, her again. And because I tell you, man, that's a true story. For about a year and a half, I would tell my wife about this woman, but she just continuously, every single day, would send an email and trying to entice me with her cooking.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, I told Hannah, I said, whoever this woman is, Betty Crocker, that keeps sending all these recipes, you're going to have to tell her, look, she's going to have to cut it out. And finally,
I got it through her head.
she got it through her head.
Well, I'm going to have to forgive her because she did help me out. I'm going to forgive her for her transgressions. We all got skeletons in our closet.
Well, I mean, to give her credit, that I hear she's got good recipes and, used to be able to cook a good meal, this and that. But,
well, she had a good cake mix and she had a good frosting mix.
yeah. Let me see. Brian had a go ahead.
Go ahead with
Brian had a question there. He said, I have an important food question. What does honey go with cheese? Or when does honey go with cheese? I say about any time if you got the hankering for it.
I'd say pouring it over cream cheese. I think that might be good, especially if it's a kind of a darker, richer honey. And they pour They pour pepper jelly over cheese all the time. I don't know about.
Eric made a good point. Eric said, don't forget to take the wrappers off the cheese. That's number one. or cut your wax off. Make sure you cut the wax off. Like Mr. Dan says, I would wrap the cheese with apples and oh no, he lost me right here. He said I would wrap the cheese with apples and cranberries, bake it and drizzle and make a cheese ball or drizzle the cheese ball. But you lost me on the cranberries.
I like cranberries.
I don't. I, it was one of them. Mama made you eat it as a youngin. You know how it is. You know, whenever Mama made a plate, it didn't matter if you liked it or not. You had better eat everything that Mama cooked that night. If not, Daddy got involved, and we pretty well know how that went. If Daddy got involved, and so whenever Mama would cook something, and she'd have a cranberry sauce for whatever it was, I'd choke it down so I didn't have to hear nothing from my daddy, this and that. But when I got older and could say, no, ma'am, I'm good on that. No, I cut it all out.
Well, I was grown before I knew that cranberries were really a berry. I thought it was just a gelatin that came in a can with lines on the side of it growing up. And I still like to have some of that on Thanksgiving, just a little bit. It's aggressive. But yeah, that's one thing my mom still does, is she still loves to eat. So when last night I cooked some chicken on the grill with and I cut some vegetables up, some broccoli and some sweet potatoes and onions, and I put all of it in a pan with a little bit of vinegar, kind of cooked it all together. When the sitter fed my mom all of it, she liked everything except for the broccoli. She didn't like that at all. But because I don't think she likes that texture. Because when I try to get my mom to eat, I like to leave the skins on my potatoes when I cook. So there were skins on those sweet potatoes, and my mom was spitting those out. And I told that sitter, I said, "Yeah, she don't like that the skins on potatoes. You got to take it off of there." I said, when she was able to eat herself, she would sit there and scrape them off the skins. So there's something about, I guess, the textures. So when the lady gave her the cake for the first bite, it had those little chocolate morsels on the top. And she put that in my mama's mouth, and my mom started spitting those morsels out.
Oh, yeah.
And she told her, she said, those are chocolate chip morsels. And then my mom let them sit in her mouth, and they melted, and she started eating them. Got convinced. It took a minute for her to do that. But anyway, we had a really good time. My brother and my sister, one of my brothers, one that lived down in South Central Louisiana, he didn't make it up, but my brother who lives there and my sister who lives nearby, we was all there, and we sang her happy birthday, and she had a big old grin on her face. And then I held the cake up to her and said, "Blow out your candles." And she blew them out. I was really surprised, as we thought that was pretty cool.
Well, it's good to hear she's maintaining a good appetite.
Oh yeah, she eats like nobody's business. But yeah, we also a huge blessing we have is that she has two sitters. She has one that stays for 7 days, and then they switch off every Tuesday. They get another sitter to come in. So she has two, and we've always had one really, really good one. But the other one we've been through like 6 different ones. It's been a struggle. But just like 2 weeks ago, we got a second one that we really like, and that's I met her this time for the first time. And man, she's an absolute blessing. She pulls up gospel songs on her phone and plays them, and she sits there and sings. My mom sings along to them. Just really, really great lady that's taking care of her.
Well,
now we don't worry about her anymore. We know she's in good hands.
Well, it's a blessing to have a good soul out there, and knowing somebody's taking care of your kin, and trying to love them the best way they can, not being family kind of thing.
Yeah. Now, yeah, and it takes a special kind of person to do that kind of work too.
Yes, sir, it does.
I don't begrudge any of the other ones. They just doing. You could just tell by my mom's demeanor when they were there. She was just not happy, and this lady has my mom smiling and laughing and talking. Yeah, it's been really nice.
Now we can relate to that in a lot of ways because year before last and back several years, most of y'all know Hannah spent a lot of time taking care of her grandma, and there was a loving soul that the family needed an extra hand, especially Hannah could be up there at nighttime and on the weekends, but during the day, we're trying to keep our house afloat, and on top of helping take care of her grandma, but I have to give her a shout out. I know she ain't watching, but a woman named Miss Francis we got introduced to, and let me tell you what, brother, that woman come in and she took care of Hannah's grandma as if that was her mama. And when Miss Francis was there, we knew, that there was nothing we had to worry about with Miss Francis because she made sure that, she was being well taken care of, had fresh linens, and just going above and beyond what I guess she was asked to do. But it is indeed a blessing to have folks that will love your people just the same as they love theirs. Like I say, it takes a special individual to do that to a stranger.
Yeah, this sitter told me a funny story that when she first started taking care of my mom, she was asking her, with people with dementia and Alzheimer's and things, you need to keep talking to them, like a real person. Even though you can't hardly understand what they tell you, you still need to try to engage with them. And she was talking to my mom and asked her how many kids she had. My mom was able to tell her 5. And she asked her what her mama's name was. Asked my mom's name. My mom what her mother's name was, and my mom told her Ollie, and she said, "Wait a minute." She said, "No, my mom's name is Ollie," and she just thought that she had told my mom her mother's name was Ollie, and then she talked to my sister, and my sister said, "No, my mom, our grandmother's name is Ollie. Her mother's name is Ollie, and our grandmother's name is Ollie." So that's kind of the hand of God, I think. It's you. That's not a real common name. It's not like Sarah or something.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of neat.
But like Mr. Dan Weaver saying here, good soul match caregivers are hard to find.
Amen to that. Amen to that. And I'll tell you what, she had a different care. It was kind of a little bit of an odd deal because this lady was taking care of somebody else, and her sister-in-law was taking care of my mom. And we just wasn't real happy with the way her sister-in-law was doing. And so my sister, who's really, God bless her, she's run lead on all of this. She was talking to the service that provides these ladies, and asked them if they had somebody else. And they said, "Well, we got this other lady that my sister didn't know it, but they said we're going to send her because the lady she's taking care of is going into the hospital." Well, she came on a temporary basis to look after Mama, and then she was just Ruth, my sister, saw how good she was and how good she was with Mom, and my brother said that lady is so kind. She's a Pentecostal lady. Been very. I'm not gonna say she's very religious, but she's God loving and doesn't mind sharing it. And so my sister told the server, she's like, "Well, we really, really like her," and and just all of a sudden, the son whose mom was in the hospital, when she got out, he decided they would go a different route. It's a really, really expensive service. The money comes from my mom's savings. So he had decided he wasn't going to continue, so she came available. But we were a little bit concerned that, okay, that's her sister-in-law that we're replacing. So we were worried about causing a problem in that family. So we checked it out, and they said, no, it wouldn't be a problem. So, it's just God's acting on in moving in strange ways, It's all working out. Hopefully she can stay for a while.
Yeah. Well, hang on to her with everything you can.
Yeah, we will do that as long as she's willing. I mean, it's a pretty long drive for anybody that we get to come to where my mom is. It's probably an hour's drive for just about anybody. But once they're there for 7 days.
When Hannah gets back in here, if you all right with me showing it, and if I can get it to show on the cell phone, I'll show everybody that picture of your mama and that birthday cake.
Boy, it sounds like your bees are really rocking and rolling. That's good to hear.
Man, yeah, numbers are looking good on everybody. Even that one little colony we didn't think was going to make it through winter. Yeah, that one little colony, but there was low on stores, low on numbers, and whole everything. And about 2 weeks ago, we had some crystallized honey left over from years past, and I took that old mason jar out there and I just stuck it underneath the I set a medium box on there and just, give a little bit room for that jar to sit this and that. And when I went in there earlier this week and kind of started rummaging through frames, that's the first box I went to see if they had pulled all that crystallized honey out. And they had pretty well even ate all the crystals up or done something with them. There wasn't nothing left in that jar. But after digging around a little bit, we got to see there was quite a bit of, so we got a small nectar flow going on with things, enough for them to start putting some good stores up. So they're on the up and up, but they all seem to be doing well. Let's see if I can get this to show y'all. This Philip's mama and a picture of her cake there.
Make yourself big.
There we go. I think I have to smash it. Well, but couldn't see it. I'm way behind on this thing. Yeah, okay, was able to see it pretty good there.
Yeah, we it's kind of funny when we was getting ready to sing her happy birthday there, and we were taking her picture, and she kicked her. She can't walk. She has to be picked up and put in her chair, all that. So, but one thing she never has stopped doing is moving those legs, picking her legs up, and just like, working them. And so when we set her down there, she kicked her feet up on the table. She had both of them on there. I didn't get a picture of that, but in that picture, I think there's one of them up there. But my sister was worried she was going to put her feet in the cake. That's like, let her go, man. She's 91 years old. Let her do whatever the heck she wants to do.
That's it. She looked like she's having a good time with all y'all.
And she enjoyed that. We did too.
Uh, Bucks B is talking about. Let me get back up here. A couple of his comments. Where'd it go? Thing it go. All right. Say larval worms come out of the ground. I'm assuming he's talking about small hive beetle larvae. Spring has sprung. Small hive beetles are as concerned. Then let me get back down here to the comment. Somebody asked how he's doing on his bees. I said he got 6. They're doing good. Just got them spread in 6 different yards. 1 a yard, so splits should be easy when I get sales. Wife's still on chemo, so time is undecided at times. I understand that, Captain. But on the fire ant situation, now we've had some of the old time beekeepers down here that we talk to, local, say, I know it can be a nuisance, and especially fire ants are going to be fire ants kind of thing. But, but all the old timers have told us, I said, if you get fire ants around them beehives, leave them. Don't try to kill them, nothing like that, because them old fire ants, number one, they're going to help keep them old sugar ants away, anything wanting sweet stuff. Then, on top of, they could help with hive beetle larvae in the ground or anything that tries to emerge.
Don't they eat stuff like that?
Yeah, because mostly a fire ant's diet is pretty much, it's going to be protein of, larva or a bug or any kind of critter they can get. Fire ants ain't so much after sweetness like sugar ants are, this or that. And, but hopefully he was saying you was using, what did he say? He said I use Gar Star 40%, works for the fire ant too, but they have a mixture for small hive beetle on paperwork.
A screenshot of that.
Okay. And I know it's kind of a danged if you do, danged if you don't, but I guess without getting on too big of a rant about the small hive beetle and this and that, but and yes, I'm gonna go to the peppermint, but I've got it wrote down, and I will happily give everybody what we figured out last year on the mixture of the peppermint extract and, well, we got the eucalyptus in there, but we bought the is it the emulsifier? Or, yeah, the vegetable gelatin, whatever y'all put the name of it in there for me. But it's supposed to help keep the scent. Glycerin, that's it. Yeah. The vegetable glycerin. And I think I did like a 3-millimeter syringe full to about 4 drops of that glycerin last year. Mixed all that together real good. Then we got, what do you call them little absorbent pads? Yeah. Something you would use for, to keep the scent on something, basically like oil diffuser. That's what she's saying. But
Keep it moist.
the first time we tried it, I went through and I didn't add any of the vegetable glycerin to it just to see how long it will hold to that little pad that's supposed to help keep scents. And about 6 to 8 days with me going out there, picking it up and smelling it, you still had a hint of the peppermint extract and the eucalyptus smell to it. So was like, all right, let's see if we can try to make this longer. So we eventually got the vegetable glycerin and started mixing that with the peppermint extract and the eucalyptus. And we had gotten 24 days with it holding that smell. Yeah, just over 3 weeks as far as it retaining that smell in there. And y'all, our whole goal last year was to let the bees grow. Don't go out there and tinker with them too much and, do a whole bunch of unnecessary inspections and this and that. We just kind of let the bees do what they was going to do, except for adding that to every single colony. And we got them 24 days, right at 3 weeks out of it. So I'm going to drag all that back out soon because I have been just going through with the peppermint extract mix and doing it like we normally would, just adding it to frames. But I'm trying to figure out a way to keep that scent in there longer. And I think it was, like I say, 4 drops of the vegetable glycerin to a 3 milliliter syringe full of the peppermint extract and eucalyptus oil. And that held for several weeks. And we didn't we had 0 lost beetles last year. And if y'all been with us for a while, you know what kind of situation we have with them doggone beetles. And we had 0 loss. No kind of larvae in there, this and that. So where I'm going with it is, if we can figure out a way to keep them hive beetles out of the colonies, then we don't have to worry about treating our ground with anything, because we're not going to have the hive beetle larvae in and around that area for them to take and go into the ground and pupate and all that kind of good stuff. But like I say, I'll drag all that paperwork out I had last year and the numbers wrote down exactly. For the ones of you interested, we'll make a post and tell you exactly what it is. And like I say, we was able to get 3 weeks out of the one run, because undoubtedly with a lot of essential oils, I forget what they called it, but people that deal with essential oils basically is saying, peppermint evaporate quickly, lemongrass evaporate quickly, and this and that, but they had a particular name for it. But our whole goal is to try to find something, or we have found something that just keeps them out of the colony, period. So we don't have to worry about, we didn't treat the ground last year. And so far this year, I know things are still very, very early, but we're not going to take and treat the ground with anything. Now, am I telling anybody else not to do that? No. Treat your ground. Try to unalive them the best way you can. But once you figure out something that works for you, hey, stick with it if it works. But thankfully, we're getting a longer life using those little scented pads that you can make, and definitely it keeps them little jokers out.
Well, I've got a question for the people in the chat. One of my yards, it's kind of I've been experimenting. I put it on like 2-way pallets. Everything in that yard's on 2-way pallets. And the other thing I've been using is like the double bubble inner covers, or even have some canvas inner covers. But in that particular yard, on several of the hives, when I pop the lid up, which is a migratory lid, on top of the double bubble inner cover is like 10 to 20 roaches, not hive beetles, but roaches. And they're like, most of them are in like a nymph stage. They don't have the full wings and all on them. And they scatter. I can't even if I try to squish them, I'll be pushing down on that double bubble and squishing bees trying to mash them. And it doesn't seem to bother the bees. The bees don't even pay them much mind, really. They don't go down in the hive. They just sit between the lid and the double bubble inner cover. I was wondering if anybody else has had that experience.
Now we don't use the double bubble, but we do have, I don't want to really say trouble, but we do see the big palmettos in there. And there, I don't know the name of it, but there's one that's maybe a little bit bigger than, or I'd say about half the size of a palmetto roach. They're different.
What do you mean by palmetto? Is that a big long one like a water bug? Or?
Yeah, the big old ones that come flying at you at nighttime kind of thing. Them showing up.
Yeah, we call those a water bug where I live. Yeah, I don't know what these roaches are mature because the ones I see are only about 3/8 to a ½ inch long and like less than a ½ inch wide. They may be just immature.
But like you say, we'll open up a lid or a colony, and now they'll be kind of close at the top and away from everybody, if you will, best as they can. But whenever you bust that lid open, even whenever they go to scurrying, the bees don't seem to pay them really too much of attention. But I imagine if they do start getting in the way, they'll probably try to run them out of there. But most of the time where we find them, and once again, we're not using double bubble, but they'll be kind of like on the top of the inner cover, right at the bottom of.
Yeah, I don't recommend that you use double bubble because the reason I'm going to get away from it is in that particular yard, I'll peel that double bubble up, and they might have every frame with a bunch of little propolis corrals with a bunch of hive beetles trapped in there. I pulled a honey super off that had like overwintering food in it, and I scraped. The only good thing is I could have scraped enough propolis off the top of those frames to make tincture out of. But yeah, when you peel them off, the hive beetles, they take off, run back down in the frame. So you release all of them back to the hive before you get a chance to squish them. So I'm going to go back to just regular inner covers.
You need a beetle back.
A chicken. That's what he needs. Good old chicken. And just flip them dudes up out of there. And that's what our chickens do. They'll come running down there. Oftentimes they think they're going to get a snack out of it anyway. But Brian from Flower Street is saying roaches don't go well with cheese and honey, Philip.
Well, I don't know. There's a group on here that likes to eat stink bugs. That's not that big of a jump.
Well, you can try it, I guess.
I need to make a little short video when I'm there. I know what's going to happen when I get in those hives, so I could make a short, pull that up, and y'all all can watch those roaches scurry just like I do. It kind of grosses you out when you see them. But
the only time
hives hadn't suffered from it.
No. Are they on some of your smaller colonies? Like more so?
I don't think so. I think the colonies I see them on are just pretty normal. But yeah, of course, there's no area up there really for the bees to patrol. They're kind of existing in that space because those migratory covers do have like a little 3/8 inch shim on them, but
Mm.
the the double bubble might have a hole cut in it. But if I'm not feeding, it's folded closed. It's not open to that space. So the bees don't have really, but it doesn't come all the way to the edge. If the bees wanted to get up there and could, they may not be able to. It may just be like an 1/8 inch space, not a 1/4 inch. So the roaches might be able to cruise through there without the bees being able to do anything about it. But I don't see it. And I got some hive beetles in that yard, but I don't see the hive beetles up there. They're underneath it where the bees are.
Oh. Yeah, I'm trying to think like.
I don't see the ball.
Yeah, most oftentimes when we see them, it's on a healthy colony, don't get me wrong, but smaller, or a real small colony that's got plenty of room, and you see them. But as far as what we've seen the bees getting on anything and actually unaliving it, we opened up a couple of colonies whenever we was helping out old Lance over there, old buddy of mine, and there was a cicada killer that had gotten in one. Now, how in the world that joker got in there and was able to get up to the inner cover, I don't know, but somehow it worked its way up there, and they took care of it, and they propolized that thing to the top of that inner cover, and we seen one or two yellow jackets that had gotten in sometime, and pretty much the bees stopped them down around the bottom board. But instead of dragging it out, they have propolized that yellow jacket as well. But them old roaches, them old palmettos, or them smaller ones too. I just say they're just kind of more of a nuisance than being a hazard.
I'm not sure what they're eating up there. Maybe it's the warmth that they're seeking out too. I don't know. I just wonder if anybody else had issues with them. And that's the only one of my 4 different yards that I see them in.
Eric from out there in Colorado says that sounds like a question that I'm fine not knowing the answer to.
That pigs made me a little bit of honey last year. I'm expecting big things out of them this year.
Well, you say you got everything moved now too, because you lost them, or you don't have the one spot anymore down in where was it?
Well, I don't have any at my house in Capel. I moved all of those because my son had his reaction last November. So I got all those moved. I don't have any bees at my house. What's funny is I brought honey back from Richland because I wanted to get all my honey frames off and harvest the overwinter stores they had. So I could put empty supers back on for the spring crop. So I brought back 8 full supers, pretty full, not real full supers, but 8 supers. And I started harvesting them at my house and putting them out in the yard. Well, a few bees came, and then the next day a few more came. But by the 3rd day, there was bees on that just like they was in my yard already. So there's still a bunch of bees in my neighborhood that came and cleaned out those supers for me. So it was almost like, and I was standing at the fence with my neighbor. I said, "Look over there," and he's like, "Look." He's like, "Yeah." I said, "I don't have any bees." He's like, "What?" I said, "I don't have any bees anymore." He's like, "Where'd them come from?" I was like, "I don't know. There's some around."
Well, if they coming by robbing, then you definitely got something close by or fairly close by.
Yeah, I know. I do know a lady who keeps 2 to 4 in her backyard, and she's about a half mile away. Matter of fact, I sent her a picture. Said, "Your bees are down here at my house." She said, "How do you know they're mine?" I said, "Because I don't have any anymore."
I'm gonna type this name in, seeing whose comment was it there? Let's see, Norman was saying with the yellow jackets and stuff, yellow jackets and walls, and this, and I think DC I mentioned the same thing too, but saying using boric acid, and, you know, I guess kind of mixing it together with some tuna to entice the yellow jackets. But I know I'm gonna butcher the name, but I'm gonna put it in the comments here because I had asked Rodney. Me and him was having this conversation a few weeks back. Then I was trying to tell y'all, but I completely forgot the name. But I did message him a few days back, and he had told me the name of what it is that he uses. And he says all he does is just mix this together with, I guess, like some tuna or sardines, something like that, that's going to draw them yellow jackets, wasps, and hornets. He said the bees won't fool with it at all, so you ain't got to worry about them getting into it, anything like that. But around your area, wherever them wasps or yellow jackets, if you're having trouble and issues with them, he said they'll be drawn to it like a moth to a flame, but it will unalive any kind of wasp, yellow jacket, or hornet in your area, so you don't have to worry about uh, dealing with those rascals.
I, what's strange is down at my farm, I'll get yellow jacket. I call them yellow jackets. I guess they're paper wasps. They're not yellow jackets. They don't build a nest in the ground like those big yellow jackets do. But I do have some big ones that I get overwintering in my swarm traps, and I see them trying to get in my hives, but I don't notice that they do anything to the bees. I think they're trying to steal a little bit of honey. I don't think they're I don't think they're grabbing bees, but I don't know that for certain. But I just don't see them as an issue. And I don't even hardly spray them even when they're building all around my cabin. They build those paper nests unless they're just right there by my door. And even then, sometimes I'll just leave them there as long as they don't try to stink me. I just live and let live and let die. But I don't panic every time I see a wasp nest. My son, who got stung by the bees and had the reaction, I guess he's hypersensitive to that kind of stuff. He walked out and he said, there's a great big wasp nest right outside the front door. I said, yeah, it's been there all year. He's like, because they're kind of up in like a little part of the soffit you can't really see good. And it was probably as big as my hand, the nest was at that point. And I said, yeah, they're about to die out. It's getting cold. And he said, you just gonna leave them there? I said, yeah, I'm not gonna mess with them. Have they tried to sting you? He's like, no. I said, they've been there for like 6 months. So I'm having a little trouble getting my bearings. They're working on the roads and it looks different every time I come through here. But yeah, I typically don't. Now, hey, if we get those yellow-legged hornets, which we probably will eventually, I'm definitely going to start setting traps because those things I know will just sit there in front of your eyes. I've seen that on Richard Noel's videos, and those bees are acting terrified coming in and out of that colony with those things.
Well, when me and Rodney was talking about that, he had mentioned them yellow leg hornets and weren't, I guess, whatever state, what was it, Georgia? I think they found them in, or one of the Carolinas up there. They was trying to get a hold to them before they really took off. Then I seen an ad the other day that I don't know if it's Department of Natural Resources or who it was. I can't remember, but I'm going to assume that they've been spotted down here along Mobile Bay because they were setting traps out to try and catch and kill them. I guess that had brought in possibly through the port, how everything else is brought in. And that's how your fire ants were brought in, was through the port of Mobile. And they just spread like wildfire from there. But Rodney was saying that he don't understand why they don't use something like, you know, what he uses, or boric acid mix to draw them in and go ahead and just take care of things while it's at a very small number. But kind of where it fell into was some people was fussing that, well, if you put this particular poison out, if you will, well, it's going to kill the wasp and yellow jackets in the surrounding area. And your wasp and yellow jackets are good for the ecosystem, which I get, okay, to a point. But the understanding was it's only going to take care of something in that small of an area. It's not like it's going to spread out and kill everything in the state. He said it'd just be in that one concentrated area right there. And I guess kind of so be it. If it takes care of a small amount, whether it's wasp, yellow jackets, hornets, bald-faced hornets, Europeans, whatever you're dealing with in that small area, then if they get in it and it takes care of them, so be it. Because next year, all you're going to do is you'll have another stock come in and just fill that area once again of your natural predators, you know, your Eastern yellow jacket, your German yellow jackets, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, I agree with that. Wasps are pollinators. I agree with you. If you knock them back in one area, there's plenty around that will move in. But what's concerning to me about the yellow-legged hornet is they are going to feed on all kinds of insects, and they're going to wipe out insect population, and that's going to affect everything. That's going to affect birds, all the rodents, which is going to affect the hogs. They're going to be, everything's going to be affected by that, not just bees. Because those things are hunters. They'll kill all the grasshoppers, beetles, and everything. I think they don't discriminate. It's not just the reason they say they like honeybees is because they're an easy target.
Well, hopefully they can get a handle on it before they go to getting. It'd be a concern, sure enough, for folks. And like I say, I'm going to assume they've been spotted down here if they're setting traps out along the bay down there. So hopefully in our area, whatever they're using, they didn't specify what they're using for a bait in the bait stations, but I'm going to imagine it's something along the lines of, like, say, boric acid or whatever it is they're Rodney uses, or something along those lines. But it's one of them. Y'all had better not tinker around too much and let things get out of hand, and then go, well,
They're definitely going. It's definitely going to They're definitely going to wait till it becomes a problem because then they get a big grant to fight it.
Oh yeah, that's it. That way they can do the research and try to figure out a way to eradicate them as they continuously spread. But like I was cleaning out them horizontal hives the other day, and it was the very last one I had to clean, and we had a little piece of I guess kind of like split brick, the best way to explain it, but we had it in there to set a mason jar on the feed, and I had popped that thing back, and there was a German yellow jacket queen in there, and I knew exactly what she was fixing to do. She was fixing to post up and start building inside that doggone box right there. So they're definitely moving around trying to find places to get and start their season off as well. But yeah, Hannah just brought this to my attention. I didn't know we're over, and I've got a day ahead of me tomorrow that I do not know how it's going to go. Uncle Tim is going on a field trip with Ollie.
Oh boy.
Yep.
Yeah, you're going to need all that.
Well, from my understanding, from what I've been told by Hannah and Ollie's mama, that it's going to be a bunch of to-do women, yuppie women, and one other dad there. So it'll be me and whoever the dad's going to be, and a whole bunch of yuppie women. And I've been given my instruction of what not to do, what not to say, and how not to act.
That sounds like a trap.
So it's going to be for them because the way they was talking, I was being told last night between Hannah and her sister that, well, then women may try to ask you to, carry this or tote that and so on and so forth. And I'm going, no, they don't know this one too doggone much. I ain't fit to be your, do boy out there. Uncle Tim's coming on a field trip to enjoy something and not go to work. And then I was instructed the biggest thing was,
these are not my rules, Steve.
well, I mean, the school system made these rules, whatever. So, the biggest thing, they told me I couldn't have my tobacco. No, there ain't no dipping, Mr. Blake. All right. We'll see how that goes for you. But,
It might be like telling Hannah she can't have any coffee. They may be sending somebody to the store to get you some. They're like,
well,
yeah, we're gonna make an exception on this one.
I have a feeling they'll let him get away with it.
well, undoubtedly, it was kind of a joke between Hannah and her sister of like, pretty much good luck with that, getting it through that one's head. You're not going to be able to do this or do that. But we're going to make the best of it, see how it goes.
DC said, get your Let's Go Brandon t-shirt.
Well,
first stop Walmart. Wear your MAGA hat.
I got a feeling down there that wouldn't be too shocking for anybody. I think you'd be all right.
I do have a couple of t-shirts in there that, like my rights don't end where your feelings begin. And I thought about wearing that one, but then she told me, she said, that one's got all the lead dispensers all over it, don't it?
Oh yeah, that's a no-no.
Yeah, until he's going on a field trip with the advanced PACE class to tour the Greek architecture in downtown Mobile. You can't wear a shirt with lead dispensers all over it. These are fourth graders.
What?
Yeah,
By
don't
the
get me
time,
started on that.
Fourth graders with even more sensitive mothers
well,
that are going to be everywhere
I mean,
that don't understand you.
well,
Yeah.
to my defense on that is, by the time back in the day, by the time the youngin was 8 to 10 years old, which what these kids are, they were some good marksmen, kind of thing. So I believe it's encouraging to be a good marksman and that kind of stuff.
DC
For
said just bring chocolate and hand it out first. You'll be good to go.
Yeah, don't get me started on those pictures of guns. I'm one that, well, not necessarily at that age, but in middle school and high school, I think those kids ought to be offered gun safety training.
yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
And you'd have a
I'm gonna
lot
give them
less
safety
accidents and a lot
classes.
less shootings if they would do that.
Indeed, I think there's one state that I think they teach that in a public school. Was it
Let me tell
Tennessee,
you,
Virginia?
let me tell you. Now, we're not talking politics or about the government. We're just talking about the system, the school system. One of my sons took outdoor. Oh gosh, something outdoors. But they did a lot of good things. They learned a heck of a lot. But one of the things they did was they did hunter safety training. As one of the things they earned certificates, and so the requirement in Texas is there's an online. You go online and take a course, and then if you're a kid, you have to go out and do some field training, which basically you take real guns and you handle them with live ammo and you shoot the guns. But they teach you how to safely, like, cross a fence or cross a ditch. There's things you follow when you do that as a hunter that keeps everybody safe. Well, it was time for him to get his hunting license. And I said, well, you've done your classroom. I said, we need to sign you up for the field training, the field day. He goes, oh, no, I already have that. I was like, how the heck do you already have that? He said, we did it at school. I said, how did you do it at school? You don't have guns. You're not allowed to have guns at school. He goes, we used hockey sticks.
Mm,
Let that set in for a second.
well,
I might have said a few choice words at that moment when he told me that. I was like, that's damn near worse than not taking it at all.
yeah, I mean, you need to know how your weapon operates, the mechanics of it,
Right.
and not.
When somebody has a accident and they go checking everything, oh, did they have their hunting license? Yeah. Well, did they have their certification? And then a lawyer says, tell me a little bit about your training. And then they say, oh, well, my hockey stick never shot anybody.
Blaine says, more important question is, what is a Texas school doing with hockey sticks?
Hey, now, Blaine, you need to look at the Dallas Stars. They're the number one ranked hockey team in the country right now, and in Canada.
He said, and in Canada.
We had a gal from Capel who was on the Olympic team and won the gold medal and scored 4 goals in the Olympics.
But the one thing that has baffled my brain ever since this was brought to my attention and I was asked to go, and I'm getting more details on it, but anybody that knows anything about Mobile is, where is the Greek architecture in Mobile?
I thought it was all Spanish.
What you got? Spanish and French architecture down here, okay, and if you look at Mobile and you look at New Orleans, Mobile and New Orleans are sister cities. All right, without me getting into a big history lesson,
Mhm.
Yeah.
John Baptiste and De La Moyne, they were two brothers, French dudes. Okay, whenever they was looking for places to settle back in the late 1600s, early 1700s, all right, they come up the Mobile River, and whenever they come up the Mobile River, they found a little spot 27 miles north up the Mobile River, and they called it 27 Mile Bluff. And where you get the name Mobile comes from a band of Creek Indians, which was the Mobile, Mobil. All right, the French and all that, they added the E to it later on in history, this and that. Well, Baptiste and De La Moyne and Bienville, they kept having issues with the Creek Indians. So what they done is they went back down south, and where you have present Mobile, the city nowadays, they moved down there to get away from the Creek Indians so much and skirmishing back and forth with them. So then after you had the Louisiana Purchase, I believe it was either right before or right after Louisiana Purchase, is Bienville and De La Moyne went west trying to find somewhere else, and they looked all along Biloxi, Gulfport. They couldn't find anywhere. Then that's when they ended up in New Orleans. So they took their whole French lifestyle. They had built a city in Mobile, then they went to New Orleans, and they pretty much built exactly the same thing in New Orleans down there. And that's how you get Mobile and New Orleans being sister cities, because of Bienville and De La Moyne. And whenever they threw the whole part of Greek architecture at me, I was thinking to myself, I'm going to give y'all a history lesson y'all ain't never heard before tomorrow.
You're not the teacher.
I will be the teacher. Tell them, ma'am,
You are going with 9-year-olds. So you have to follow instructions too.
What's funny is, I don't know about Mobile, but it sounds like the French that settled New Orleans, they well, first of all, I gotta say, hey Jasper.
he piped up at you.
Yeah. So the French that settled New Orleans, they were kicked out of Canada and came down. So they were, and they probably got kicked out of France before they got to Canada. I don't know, but they weren't the polished social class, let's just call it, of France. It was they were the French Canadian that came to that area. So
Uh-oh. We lost him. Or he's buffering.
oh, okay, sorry. Yeah, it was a pretty rough crowd down there that settled that area. But yeah, you probably
DC, I had to go back and read all the history of it, but from my understanding, whenever they settled right down there along all that, that was the highest point that they could get on and locate at the time, and it being a good place to bring goods in and out down through that way. But
how's that? Is that better? 'Cause my phone, I think I pulled up here at the back of the house, and my phone can't decide whether it's gonna grab the Wi-Fi. I turned the Wi-Fi off, so it should be better.
got you loud and clear now.
Yeah. So yeah, what I was saying was that New Orleans has carried on that tradition of being kind of a rough and tumble crowd. Kind of rough around the edges. Mobile's a little more civilized, I think.
Woo!
I'd have to disagree.
Modern day, they're running a pretty close race with New Orleans as far as being a rough town, I guess. Mobile has a high unaliving rate.
Mm.
And it's way higher than what a lot of people would imagine. But imagine
a whole different breed of idiots over here.
imagine back in them days, there wasn't no laws of the land, and you just kind of took care of business however you needed to take care of business back then to keep people from trying to get over on you, this and that. But I don't know. It's a pretty interesting history of how all this came about down this way, and I'll save that for next week.
If you look at the Louisiana Purchase, it was the French had claimed that whole area, basically from Canada all the way down to New Orleans, but they weren't really controlling anything north of about Vicksburg, maybe.
Mm.
But somebody's opening the door. Noah's here getting my puppy out. So, and in New Orleans was kind of a problem for France because they were having all these, it's because of who had settled that area. They were having all kinds of issues with kind of lawlessness, and it wasn't exactly working out for them as far as trade like they thought they would. But America needed that port, and they needed to control that port, and that's really all they wanted was that part of it. But when they made the offer to France that we want this, they were really just only trying to buy the southern part of it. And France said, we just want out of it altogether. Here, we'll sell you every bit of it. And that's what ended up happening with Louisiana Purchase.
Mm.
Where they were.
Because a lot of it, too, it was a tug of war between the French and the Spanish. Well, it was a tug of war kind of like with three different ways. With the Creek Nation, then the Creek sold it off to the Spanish. And then the French come in, and the French and the Spanish, they traded it off 3 or 4 different times back and forth of, it's kind of, ain't nothing we can do. Then eventually when they made the actual Louisiana Purchases, whenever you kind of started getting more of a civilized group in some ways. And like you're saying, it's nothing more than just have access for the port, and more so, especially over there in Louisiana, you got the Mississippi River, and you can run everything you needed back in them day up and down that Mississippi River. And
part of their issues when anytime they got off the river, they got into like the Cherokee Nation and stuff like that, and they were getting their butts handed to them. It was they were losing a lot of men, and that's one reason they didn't want any of that stuff, because it was such a a tough area back then for settlers.
One of these days,
you could talk about what Andrew Jackson and all that did with that, like it or not, but they made it habitable, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
But the French the French didn't want it because of that. It was a lawless area. But,
go ahead, Phil. We're gonna wrap her up here in a minute.
Yeah, I'm home, so I need to get my stuff out of here too. Go get in the bed because the time has changed. But I wish I could be a fly on the wall. Those 8 and 9-year-olds gonna learn all kind of stuff from Uncle Tim tomorrow.
Uncle Tim's gonna teach them the history that they don't teach anymore. So I think we're gonna have a good day. I'll let y'all know how it goes.
All right, we expect a full report.
All right, well, y'all take care.
All right, take care. Good night, everybody.
All right, man. Well, y'all, we appreciate everybody joining us, riding it out with us to the end. Hope you got something out of it on the beekeeping end. If not, we just had some good fellowship and some good laughs this evening. But we thank y'all, and God bless you. Lord willing, we'll see y'all on the next one. Y'all take care.
Well, guess that's it for today. See you next time at Gunline Bees.